everybody, and welcome to Nerd Splaining Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
Yay, what's going on, buddy? Very good morning to you. I know it's very early we're recording this. Shame.
Oh no, but
Shame on us.
it's for no, it's not a shame. It's appropriate that we woke up early because we have a terrific. This is a special episode, not even a regular episode. This is a spoiler-filled review of James Gunn's new The Suicide Squad, and it was so good. We're like, we got to talk about this, just this. Like, we'll do a whole other show
Oh, no,
later,
yeah,
but
absolutely, yeah. This is one I've
we
been
have to talk about
itching.
this.
I mean, again, we talked about it on the last show. I saw it over a week ago. And obviously, I gave it, I mean, I love the film. It's great. It's gloriously brutal and graphic in nature. It's hilarious. Everything works in this film, right? The quintessential
Dude,
James Gunn film. And I've been itching just to kind of really take a deep dive, finally, now that it's out,
honestly, I don't know how you held it in for like a week and a half because like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I gotta talk to Jose about
And that's
this.
what
Like
I'm
it was
saying. No one and you saw it. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And I know you saw it Thursday night, I think, on HBO
yeah,
Max.
right.
It's out now on both theaters and HBO Max. So we're gonna take a deep dive into it. What we liked about it, what we didn't. Obviously, I actually want to, my thoughts on it. We talked about that, but what
Yes.
general thoughts about what you thought about the film? Are you in my
Well,
camp here?
you know what? It's funny you said your initial review was I give it like an 8.5, but I'm sure you're gonna love it, and you're absolutely right. I fucking love this movie. It was great. Is it the perfect movie? No, but is it a really good movie? Absolutely. It's honestly better than the first two Guardians, which is huge. It's
Wow, that's
better.
a bold statement.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I'm
wow,
telling you, I
okay.
really like this movie, and I think the reason why is first of all, since Thursday, and we're recording Saturday morning, so it's pretty early. I've seen it three times. Like that's how much
Oh, you saw it.
I like
Wow,
this movie.
okay.
Three times,
Wow.
and I because the first two was just to take it in, and the third one was kind of to see like references or nitpicks or that kind of thing. And I even got to watch if you're on HBO Max, you get to see like they have like little vignettes, like special little like behind the scenes shots and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And something that James Gunn said, I was already feeling around the second, which is the most James Gunn movie ever. Like James Gunn in Marvel, he's doing Marvel's version of a James Gunn movie. You still have a lot of James Gunn elements, heavy, obviously, but it still feels like a Marvel movie. This, from like the texture of the filming to a lot of the fun comic book transitions that they create, like almost like the captions of things to help transition scenes, um, to just being as violent as you want. Like all that is just James Gunn staples, top to bottom. I mean, we said this, we said this before to each other, but like after watching this movie, I completely believe that James Gunn was one of those guys who got laid for making mixtapes because the music, the music in like the Guardians and other movies he's done always feels like it helps tell the story. But this movie particularly, it is an emotional piggyback to everything you're doing. Like it just helps transcend every scene when he does those needle drops into those key moments, and like it really felt like this is James Gunn with no one really telling him not to do too much. Like I'm sure there was a couple like, ooh, maybe not here. But for the most part, like this is what he got to do because he wanted to do it and it played beautifully. So yeah, to me, best James Gunn superhero movie, best DCEU superhero movie, not the best superhero movie, but for his personal catalog and for what DCU has created, top easily.
Wow, that's bold. I didn't expect that. I think Guardians is a little bit better. Not, it's different kind of films. It's apples and oranges for the most part.
Absolutely.
Kind of. I mean, have some of the similarities with the ensemble cast and stuff like that, but the humor and the music, like you mentioned.
Right.
But I just Guardians just a little bit more. I mean, again, it's whatever. It's
It,
tomatoes,
it's
tomatoes.
a nitpicking,
Yeah,
nitpicking,
yeah, it's
sure.
not. I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter where you rank it. It's a great movie. Whether you think it's the
Great movie.
best
Mm-hmm.
DCU for whatever, it doesn't make a difference. And
Right.
and a good point about the music is, I mean, he's so good about choosing these obscure songs, the songs you just kind of forget about, and he drops them in. They're like, oh man, I know
Or
that
a
song,
song
and
that
it
you
works.
kind of heard before,
Yeah,
but he recontextualizes
yeah.
what it. So yeah, I mean, the movie starts off just when they're doing the little Warner Brothers like image before it cuts
Mm.
into the movie. You already start hearing Johnny Cash. I killed a
Right.
Manarino just to watch him die. You're like, yeah, this is the perfect
Yeah, it's
song
yeah, it's and
for
it's
what you're about to get
exactly. He's
into.
so good at him and Tarantino, the best as far
Oh,
as
so good.
soundtracks and mixing and kind of giving their own life in the movie. Like it's his own character, the music and all that. And here he works great. I mean, he's so good at that. I love that. But let's take a deep dive here and let's start obviously at the beginning here because this movie when it begins, it kind of cuts to fat. I mean, we get to the
It
point
doesn't
here,
give a
right?
fuck.
Yeah,
It
it's just
just
like,
comes in and goes, "You're a criminal. You're gonna do this job, and you're gonna get 10 years off, or you're gonna fucking die." And then you're like,
right.
"Oh."
And you're off to the races, and which is, I mean, obviously it benefits from having the first one, good or bad. That it's we know what the premise is, right? We know what this is going to be about. Let's not waste any time. Let's just gather them up, ship them
What
out, and let's do
the
this, right? Which is great.
the beautiful thing is that the movie uh, introduces a what to you feels like a random DC villain, and you seem be assigned this team, and on this team of complete randos that you've never seen before, you get Rick Flag from the original movie, you get Harley Quinn for the original movie, and you get Captain Boomerang for the original movie. So it kind of feels like a sequel, but everyone else on the team looks like a fucking reject. Like there's no part of them that goes, "Oh, this guy's a credible threat." I think the only one that maybe feels that way is the girl version of Mongol called Mongal.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like, okay, she might be like the power hitter of this team, but like you got a dude called the Javelin, and he throws a javelin. I mean,
It's
like
so it's so ridiculous.
I've seen Special Olympic players who have more javelin oomph than this dude. So like
Actually,
if
that
they
guy,
would,
who's the guy? This is a deep cut for those who even know what Revenger Nerds
uh-huh.
is. What's that guy? I forgot his name. If have you seen that film, Revenger
Which,
Nerds?
of course, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When the guy with the javelin, when they're doing the
Oh yeah,
competition,
the
uh,
Lamar,
Lamar. Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, yeah. The javelin is like bouncing.
I mean, and he had a
Fantastic.
specially made wobbly
Right.
thing it was great. It's a great bit, and this guy's javelin is not that.
It's not that at all.
It's just a javelin. It's a little ornate. It's made out of metal, pointy tips, but not that at all.
Right.
And you get to see people who like some of it felt like oh, okay, they got this guy because he's kind of like a name or he's up and coming. Like you got Pete Davidson as a blackguard. You're like, okay, I guess he's going to be the clumsy killer. Then you had like Nathan Fillion as the detachable kid, and you're like, okay, well, Nathan Fillion always does a movie with Nathan Fillion and Michael Rooker are always in
The
a James
staples
Gunn
in
movie,
James Gunn. Yeah, absolutely. Going back to
and also
Slither.
James Gunn's brother is in this
Yes,
movie as
that's right.
well twice.
Yes, that's right.
What I
Yeah.
didn't know is he played Weasel,
Uh-huh.
which Weasel is it is like Dobby meets a werewolf, and he makes these stupid, weird little sounds as it runs around. And I have a full size poodle that I think in my head she's a complete idiot. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking Weasel sounds like what I think my full size poodle sounds like in my head. Is it like that's what I picture her? You guys will play the game? Like that's what I feel all the time when she's like around. But he not only does he play Weasel, but he also plays the Calendar Man.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're a fan of Batman: The Long Halloween, which they just released a 2-part animated movie of it, is a really big character in that comic book
Yeah,
series.
he
It's
is.
was one of like the pinnacle of Batman comics. But he's in it completely shitting on Polka Dot Man, which is
Yeah.
great.
And it's a quick scene. It's like what? It's a cameo.
2 seconds,
It's a
two
cameo, right?
seconds.
Yeah.
But like
But he's in
the
it.
fact,
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that you got to do those two things, I was like, oh, that's cool, man. They really there's not a lot of deep cuts, but there are deep cuts scattered across the movie. And Calendar Man being there, and the fact that he played Weasel as well was kind of one of those fun ones as well.
And
But
and
like that original team in the beginning of the movie, complete fucking rejects. Like there's no one there that has any merit whatsoever.
well,
One or two,
Harley Quinn, obviously, because she's part of that
obviously.
initial team, and Rick Flag, because
Rick Flag, because he
he's a
actually
main
knows what the fuck
player
he's
in
doing.
the film.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. So that's it.
But
And he
everyone else
looks,
is like, yeah, whatever.
yeah. You're like, these guys, I guess it's a Suicide Squad because you don't think these guys are going to survive. And the movie goes, yeah,
Yeah.
they're not.
Which is great, because that really sets the tone. And I mentioned this, we talked about last week on the show, where, don't get married to any character. And in the first 10 minutes, I mean, I think everybody but two, I think Rick Flag and Harley Quinn, obviously, were the only
Right.
known survivors off that initial suicide team. And when else gets whacked
They don't
brutally.
get whacked. They get fucking murked. They
Right.
get wrecked.
Yeah.
And like, I got to tell you, by the time that Savant's head explodes and his blood becomes the Warner Brothers Pictures present, I literally thought, what, there's another movie? I thought I just went through 2 hours. Like in 20 minutes, he packed the emotional heft of a 2-hour movie. I was like, God, oh fuck, there's more? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it was kind of, I'm not surprising, but unsurprising, because James Gunn said, anybody could be off in the movie, which came to fruition. So that was a great introduction, and then we learned the fact that that initial
Whole
Suicide
team.
Squad was a decoy, and the
Oh,
real Suicide Team got introduced moments after. There was a diversion; they were invading the island or whatever. I forgot what island it was, but nonetheless, they were
it's
kind
a
of
made
get.
up island. It's not a real island. It's
Yeah,
made up.
no, I think it doesn't matter. Either way, they were diverging to get the other teams snuck in from the other side where there wasn't going to be any soldiers. And now we're finally introduced to the Suicide Squad that we focus in the film here. Of course, we
The
got
legit one,
the
right?
legit one: Polka Dot Man, Peacemaker, Bloodshot,
Bloodsport,
Bloodsport. I'm sorry, this is
Bloodsport,
Bloodsport. Sorry,
yeah.
Bloodshot's a movie,
And
and
Ratcatcher 2
Ratcatcher 2,
and
right?
King Shark.
King Shark, right? So that's the team, and this is where the movie I think really picks up because I loved all these characters.
Dude,
Surprisingly enough, I mean, which ones were like really just stood out for you the
well,
most?
I'll tell you this. When I was first starting to collect comics, my first Superman comic was the first appearance of Bloodsport. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, that's my!" I remember this guy, and it was his whole big deal was like Lex Luthor made him a kryptonite bullet that he shot Superman with,
Mm-hmm.
and Superman was like, "Fuck!"
Yeah,
And so
which they referenced here
which they I
in
was
the
like that's
yeah,
I they totally references the reason why he's in jail, and I was like that's awesome. I
yeah,
love that little nod to it. um and I think to me standout was Peacemaker. I did not expect to like Peacemaker as much as I did, and I think it was a fact that they made his costume entirely comic book accurate, and as stupid as it looked, it worked. And I
yeah,
think a lot of that goes to John Cena's credit, which I didn't expect him to have the ability to pull off. But he did a great like his full commitment to his own bullshit was inspiring. It almost feels like John Cena was like to me a sympathetic Trump, where he completely believes his bullshit, but he's at certain points he's actually mad at himself. Like I wish I didn't believe my own garbage, but I do.
he's all in. He's all
He's
right.
minorly self aware, but not enough to do the right thing.
Right. He does, and this really, I mentioned this, really makes me look forward to his standalone
Absolutely,
show and on the screen.
absolutely.
Because I mean, I'm not a big John Cena fan. I'm not, but I mean, this is what happens when you put someone like him with a competent director, some good writing. You know, almost like with
And
Batista with Drax, what he did with him in
and a
Guardians.
legit cast of people who know what the fuck they're doing. That's
Yeah,
like not to take away from the Fast Nine franchise, but let's be honest. If you got Tyrese and Vin Diesel, you're not really playing with people who have a serious effect on the
right.
craft. You
And
know,
those movies, yeah, those movies. I mean, they're not written. I mean, let's be honest, they're shit writing. It's just a fun.
oh yeah,
Well, not the last one, but usually they're kind of fun, just kind of whatever mindless kind of rides. But this shows that he's under the right tutelage, he can be something interesting. Maybe even carry a show, which we'll find out for sure.
and
I think next year. But either way,
speaking of carrying a show, big ups to King Shark being voiced by Sylvester fucking Stallone.
I know. Which I'm surprised you didn't know about that going into
I
the film.
I saw his name when the credits were rolling in at the beginning, and I was like, "Where's Sylvester Stallone?" I couldn't, and then so I had to wait until the credits at the end, and I saw Sylvester Stallone King Shark. I was like, "Holy shit, that was him!" Like I had no, it was because I knew that Steve Agee, who's a comedian who's also in the movie, he's the big tall bearded dude for Amanda Waller's office team. I knew he was the physical stand-in, so I thought, oh, Steve Agee probably did the voice for him too. It turned out Sylvester Stallone, and he didn't sound like Sylvester Stallone. That's what threw me off because every Sylvester Stallone movie, he sounds like Sylvester Stallone, and this one, he has such like a dumb, goofy voice that I did not know it was him until I was like, oh, so now I actually kind of, I respected Sylvester Stallone for stuff that he did, like the Rambo, the first Rambo, even the second one, and the fact that he wrote the first Rocky and started
Mm-hmm.
in it. And, like, you got to give credit where credit's due. The fact that he created the whole Expendable franchise on like over the
Oh
hill.
no, Stallone is
Actually,
he's legit. I mean,
he's legit, but like the
yeah.
fact that I saw range. Before I knew he was legit, now I saw range. But like he went from like I sound stupid but tough to like I sound stupid. Like it's a big that's a to me that's a leap, and I was happy to see that he's able to make that
You
leap.
can tell
So yeah,
he was having fun with that
oh
role. I
super
mean,
fun, super fun.
why
I
wouldn't
I,
you? I mean,
I
again,
almost
it's ridiculous and it's on paper. It's like it sounds stupid as hell, but this movie makes all that work.
I almost look forward for them releasing outtakes of Sylvester Stallone in the
Oh man,
booth, like
oh
just rip.
this is one where I'd love to see like the gag reel or whatever if they
Oh
have
yeah,
one.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's just I'm sure they had a blast doing this. But there's two characters that really surprised me where I going into I'm like what I didn't know anything about them barely, and that's Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher 2. I thought, particularly Ratcatcher, I thought was the heart of the film,
Yeah,
right? She's the
absolutely,
emotional weight of the film
absolutely.
that really worked. And Polka Dot Man, again, whatever. He sounded, again, stupid and ridiculous, and he is on paper. But man, he
But
did a good job of fleshing him out as well, man. I really liked him a lot.
DC DC needs to write James Gunn like $1 million check, because the polka dot man we saw in the movie was not the polka dot man in comics. He completely recreated the polka dot man, and this version is DC's going to use that version for the next 25 years. Like it is such a better version. Like the polka dot man in the comics, he's a Batman villain, and he has detachable polka dots that become things. So like when a John Cena's Peacemaker character goes like, "What's your power? You throw polka dots." In the comics, he actually throws polka dots that become things like a hoverboard, or like a fist arrow thing that shoots out, or like a teleportation thing. So the fact that in this movie they made it an intergalactic virus that eats anything it touches, such a better version of the polka dot man. So yeah, thank you, James Gunn, for making DC Comics better, either happenstally or on purpose. Like, please, I want that version of comics from now on. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was really just well thought out and made interesting where there's probably nothing interesting about him to begin with. So,
No.
but obviously, when they, and that's when we kind of, like I said, it really starts when that this new squad is introduced and they're
Right.
going to jungle. Obviously, they're there too with they're sent to rescue Rick Flag, who was captured,
Right.
right? And this is the fun part of the beginning of the film because we got two great scenes here. One was when King Shark was about to eat Ratcatcher,
Yes.
because he needs his
Just
young
hungry.
ones, he got to eat,
Like
So
no malicious, just hungry. Right.
yeah, that was and how and that's again this goes to Ratcatcher's being part of the film, where she's like doing the whole thing with the friendship with him and all that kind of, hey, you don't eat friends and whatever.
Right.
But we had that amazing scene because John Cena's ripped, right? I mean, he's huge.
Dude.
I mean, forget about it, right? I mean, but
His arms are the size of emo kids. Like
that's what I'm
that's
saying.
how
It's like, damn,
huge this
it's
dude is.
big. But you get to see him in all his glory, I guess, because
Oh yeah, he comes out in the tidy
the
whities.
tidy whities, which I
So
thought was hell. I was dying laughing seeing
I,
that.
I have I have a 70-inch screen that I was watching this on, and when he first came in, I was like, "Holy shit! Are they Dirk Diggling him? Or is he porn packing in tidy whities?" But then when you do the camera swift to see him, you realize it's not one huge cock; it's just balls and a little dick kind of pointing to the side. And I was like, "Oh, it's the reverse Dirk Diggler." Okay,
I give a
cool.
lot of credit for really zoning in that area and analyzing that for us.
I
Right there,
paused it. I paused it. I put my face next to it. I smelled it. I was trying to get. I was like,
You
"What
had to
is this
rule
scene
out.
trying to say about me as a person?"
Were you comparing as like, let me? I'm not a little, got a little bit of John Cena in me. I don't know. Maybe you
Well,
did.
I want to brag, but real life Eric is totally beating movie John Cena.
Only in that region. Let's get that straight.
Even on a 70-inch screen, I'm like, winner.
Fair enough. But that was a really great scene. And another one when they were rescuing Rick Flag, and because they have this banter between Peacemaker and
Bloodsport,
Bloodsport,
Bloodsport. From the beginning of the
where
movie, they're like trying to like boast, brag to each other, busting balls at each other. Who's the better killer?
right, and they kind of killing guys and competing with each other and saying, "Look, this is what I did. Oh, watch this, watch it." That was
Right.
fantastic. There's a scene with the axe where
Oh,
John Cena just is maul somebody who's asleep
there's a
or
dude who's
whatever.
sleeping, and John Cena
Oh my
just like
god.
stabs him 8 times, and the last time he leaves the axe in his chest, and just walks away, and the guy in the bed's like, and then
I mean, it
stuff.
was so excessive but amazing at the same time.
Oh,
I mean, it was just
let me
that
tell you
was a great
something.
little. It's a great back and forth, and that's when the movie
There's
has so much fun.
there's a great moment between both of them when John Cena shoots a guy with a bullet, but the bullet hits him in the shoulder, and
Oh,
Bloodsport's like, "You lost. It's not lethal." It's like exploding around, and the guy explodes, and then Idris Elba goes, "No one likes a bragger," and then John Cena goes, "Yeah, unless what they got to brag is cool as fuck."
yeah.
And Bloodsport's like, "Damn, he's right." Like that's
Oh man, that was so
so
good,
good.
and that's the best of John Cena, right? What we're talking about.
Yeah,
I never see him like this. I mean, he has good comedic timing. He does.
yeah. Like if you see him in
Yeah.
Blockers, he's really funny in Blockers.
He is very funny
Yeah,
about. Yeah, he absolutely. That's something we actually liked, and Trainwreck was another one. He had a small role, but he was actually
small. Yeah,
decent.
he has
Yeah.
moments. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even I'm not too familiar with his wrestling, but he had a lot of comedic stuff, and that's some of the spots that he did. They were pretty funny. I've seen some of them.
Right.
So he's good at that, but this one kind of really brings it out of him. But obviously, now they get to rescue Rick Flag, and now they find out that Harley Quinn's still alive, who was also captured.
Well,
And
wait,
then we,
wait. When they
oh,
rescue Rick Flag, they also realize that
oh,
everyone
yeah,
they've killed to get there were actually the good
right.
guys.
They're gonna. such an awkward, amazing scene. They're like, oh damn,
Oh,
oh wow.
there's this great thing that it's such a funny scene, but it's also a great writing effort that he did, which is he introduced this army that could have been an option on how to move forward with the story, and he completely removes that army, making
Yeah.
these assholes the only option for the heroes to win. I was like, this is so good. Like you're introducing an idea and going, and that's no longer on the table.
Right.
These guys are. This is the only option. You're fucked.
Oh man, that was such a cool scene, and just the looks in their faces, they're like, "Oh man,
Oh,
we know what do we do here?" But now, so now they're off to
and they
rescue.
also
Oh,
introduced the idea of Polka Dot Man has a huge mom issue. Like he
was
hates
it
his
that scene?
mother.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
that scene.
because
Yeah, you're right. That was later on. Yeah.
he verbally states that it's easy to kill people when he imagines that they're their mom, his mom, and that's how he's able to kill people. You're like, oh, that's cool. And then when they go to save Rick Flag, and they find out he's safe because they're the people that have him are the good rebel army trying to overthrow the evil government. The leader of the rebel army goes, "Why didn't my people tell me you got here?" And everyone's like, "I don't know. What you see when it?" And I don't, when they all stop, Polka Dot Man goes, "I imagined everybody was my mother and I killed them all." I was like, "That's
Which
great."
and that was such a great running gag. We got a little ahead of ourselves, but why not? Since we're on the subject, where because they use that gag throughout the film, right? Where you see
Throughout
him,
the film,
yeah. Whenever they show him, he's interacting. There's a scene where he's dancing later on, which we'll get to, but he's dancing with these girls, and they all look like they superimpose his mom as all
into
the women they
everything,
dance with,
and
even the team, and even at the end with
you see
Starro.
it, and she's like, I don't know who that ginormous lady is, but this is her 15 minutes of fame, and I look forward to going to comic book conventions and getting her autograph for $35 because like this, she's gonna ride high on this one for a hot minute,
You
and
know,
good
so,
for her,
yeah,
man.
you know, this is a great cosplay opportunity. You know, someone's gonna notice
Oh
she's
my
gonna be
god.
there. They're gonna dress up as Polka Dot Man and get that picture. Which, listen, I get. I do the same thing
Oh,
because that'd be
yeah.
fantastic.
I want that. Like I want to be part of that picture without being dressed up. I want to like just be like I want to be part of that. It's great.
Oh no, absolutely. That would probably sell those little faces with the holes, for
Oh,
the eyes. You know,
so
with
good,
the.
so good. Yeah.
I mean, it was such a great running gag, and it didn't get old. So
No, never.
again,
In fact,
kudos to
each
James
one
Gunn. Yeah.
elevated the next
Right.
one
Yeah.
because like the first time you see her, she's like digitally superimposed over his teammates. So you see her
Hmm.
in costumes and that kind of stuff. The second time you see her, she's digitally imposed as the people that are dancing around him. So it's just her in that clothes. And then the third time when when Bloodsport tells him to look at Starro and say, "That's your mother, kill your mother," and she's not digitally imposed as Starro. She's just a giant her, which I thought was
Yeah.
the ultimate version of like she's not even like her. It's somebody else. It's just her.
Just, that kind of by surprise. That didn't I? You know, sometimes you see jokes coming. This one was like, oh, I
Right.
didn't see it coming, and it worked. And I was dying
So
laughing at
good.
that scene. So good. But no,
But
yeah,
then they go
now,
rescue. They go rescue. Well,
yeah, they go
they have to
rescue
go
Harley
rescue her.
Quinn, who, and then let's talk about that. This is the one scene I've heard people say they're not huge fans of. I didn't have a problem with it, but I heard when she starts interacting with the president who wants to use her,
Who is a huge
to get
fanboy apparently
right, yeah,
at
he wants to
first, right?
marry her, make himself look good or whatever, and have this scene where like there's a scene where they're I don't know if it was it's almost like a dreamlike sequence where there's birds around them and
It was a
they're kind of
Wes.
falling in
It
love
was.
or whatever.
I saw that and I thought it felt like a Wes Anderson movie where they're falling in
Yeah,
love. Like it's very like quirky but sweet but silly. Like it, like right bombs as a love sequence. Like how do people become enamored with each other? That's what it felt like. And it felt like it was maybe it was real until they jump cut to them talking on the couch normally, and I thought, oh, that was shit all happened in her head. That's what it was. That's what I thought it
yeah,
was at
right,
first.
right. 'Cause listen, Harley Quinn is unhinged. That's like I said, this is the best version of Harley Quinn we've seen, I think. And
Oh my
I
god, so
haven't
good.
minded her in the other ones. I liked her in the first Suicide Squad. Her, I'm saying she was okay in Birds of Prey, but that movie was whatever.
Okay.
That's what it is. But this, I think, really we get the true Harley Quinn in this film because we even get the scene where she turns around I did not see this coming where she just shoots the guy, right?
Because he
She,
when he's talking about like I'm gonna kill my enemies and
mm,
their family and their children, and when he turns around because he knows who she is, she's the
right,
Joker's girlfriend, so he feels like I can just be honest with her about how fucking evil I am,
and
and she's
she'd be
gonna be on
okay.
board.
Yeah,
And when she turns around, just his chest explodes. You hear a gunshot, and he starts bleeding. And she's like, "I taught myself that if I'm ever gonna love again, I have to pay attention for red flags.
and I mean,
And there's no big red flag than killing children. I get it, and
it's so bizarre, but
it's
yeah, it was great. I mean, I loved it.
it was this great monologue that she goes through that almost feels a little bit like a natural born killers, where you're starting to be sympathetic for her, and then there's that shift that she goes, wait, she looks down at him. and he's on the floor dead, and blood is just pouring out. He's in a pool of blood. It's pouring out, and she goes, "I just think you look prettier that way." And I was like, "Oh man,
that,
like that is great fucked upness. It's so simple.
I mean,
So
that is Harley Quinn, right? That's who she
yeah,
is.
that's
Yeah,
great. So
exactly.
good.
And then
And then she gets captured.
Yeah, she gets captured. And there's a scene which there's a really cool scene where she's being tortured by I guess the military, the general, whatever, who's taking over.
Right.
And we had talked about this before off air, where you knew that wasn't gonna affect her at all. She's been with the
She's the Joker's girlfriend.
right. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's
come on,
no way.
She's seen and been through worse than that.
Like the Joker killed Robin over a course of several hours by beating him not nonstop with a crowbar and then putting a bomb on the other side of the room and going, if you can reach the bomb, you'll survive. And Robin's bloody, pulpy body keeps crawling to the bomb. And as soon as he puts his hand on the bomb, it's too late and it explodes. Like that's what he does on an off day.
Right.
So if you're dating the Joker, the shit he must do to just be able to go to sleep for her. Oh my God, it must have been so. Just hitting her with like a cattle prod over and over again. I was like, take her, and she played she let them overplay their confidence and assume that they had her dead to rights. And as soon as they dropped the guard, fucking Harley Quinn clicked in, and that whole escape sequence that she does, better than the whole Birds of Prey movie. Like, I defy you to watch that scene and the whole movie and go, which one left you with more? Like, I want to see what happens next. It's clearly the escape scene.
Yeah, that was a great scene. And you see where instead of blood, in her mind, she's seeing flowers
and rainbows.
Yeah.
I saw that. I thought to myself, this is going to be my daughter's favorite movie when she's old. It is everything my daughter loves, and it totally explains how Harley Quinn can be a brutal savage and be happy and smiling the whole time. Because of her, she doesn't see blood. It's just flowers and rainbows and birds, and everything's animated. She's like, yay! And so it's sweet and it's horrible all at the same time, which is exactly where Harley Quinn should be. And do this for her for now, forever. That's what I want for Harley Quinn from now on.
Yeah, I only wish, like, because we had the Gigolo. I'm a Gigolo, the song.
Oh, yes.
Or just a Gigolo, I'm sorry. Yeah, but it wasn't, we talked about that wasn't the David Lee Roth version, which you and I grew up with hearing anyway. That was just the point. I was like, man, because they kind of tease that song when she's being tortured.
Right. So you're thinking
because I think she's singing it, or is it just playing in the back?
She's singing it as a way to distract the pain, right?
Right, yeah. And then they, obviously the cue to the song when she's escaping.
And when she's escaping, you hear that as the overplay song. Yeah. But I really, we both talked about it. If it would have been the David Lee Roth, it would have been perfect. But still a great scene. Taking nothing away from it.
Not at all. Just the person perfect.
If that's our worst nitpick, that's how you know how good this movie is. We would have liked another version of the good song they used. It's really it's not the end of the world. Yeah. No David Lee Roth, no Van Halen. I'm fucking out of here.
Fuck this movie, man. But anyway, so once she escapes or is rescued, attempted rescue, whatever the case is, the movie moves on now where they have to capture the Thinker. Obviously they're gonna try to, and this is interesting. This is one of those meta moments and stuff. There was like 3 huge meta Easter egg moments, and where they have to go to what's the name of the place, Eric? Where the starfish is being
Jotunheim.
There you go. Which is obviously, we see that from Thor, right?
Thor, yeah, because Idris Elba was in all 3 Thor movies, and it was really funny because in interviews he said like, after the second Thor movie, I was done, and then Ragnarok was like a fun way to him to kind of get back into it. But then he dies at Endgame, and so it was really fun to see that now he's in a DC movie, and his mission is to go to a Norse location. Right. So I thought that was a cute little moment that they had.
Yeah, nice little wink to for those who are in the know, like, will recognize. I'm sure not everyone's going to. But that was kind of funny, a little meta humor in that one.
You hated Norse gods. Now your job is to go to Norse realm. Go,
exactly. You have no choice at this point. And and there's one interesting scene I want to talk about because we talked about this before, where they're obviously they go to the bar. They're trying to get the Thinker, right? They have a plan set to capture him, which they do. But then I guess the army cuts into the bar, and then Idris Elba, Peacemaker, and it was 3 of them, right? What was the other one? Rick Flag. Yeah, they take it for the team. They stay behind. They get captured, known as Ben, which they escape. And this scene, look, this was the Fast 9 scene. I'm gonna allow it because the movie's great anyway. But
sure,
they escape and the John Cena
in the armored car, and John Cena's got his arm in a hole, trying to control the car. It just fits the size. It could fit a small teenager or his arm.
Hole. Yeah, right. It's a bit. in perspective, it's a big hole because he's got a big arm. But yeah, he's killing the guy, and then the truck, veers off course and starts flipping around, and
But his arm is still in the
he's still
hole.
like, okay, whatever. He has a little scratch or something. Yeah,
Like
that was a Fast Night moment, which obviously is convenient because it is John Cena.
the only reason
Yeah,
that scene plays is because this movie is so over the top with everything else
right,
that if you're gonna nitpick this, like get the fuck out of here. Like
right.
that's so yeah.
I mean, isn't it pick? This is David Lee Roth, same thing. This movie sucks, bro. His arm's not cut up. It was fine. It was kind of fun. That's the first thing I thought of was Fast Nine when I saw that scene. The very first,
Right.
I'm like, oh my god, there we go. It is what it is. But either way, it came out cool, and you get one of those awesome transitions too when then they said the next mission.
Is Operation Yoderheim?
Yeah,
They go, no, we have to save Harley Quinn, and so the wind blows, and the Yoderheim becomes Harley in smoke.
yeah, and there's a
And
bunch of those
the
transitions
whole
in there.
movie has a bunch of those fun comic book transitions, which is essentially a movie version of like a comic book text that says like "Meanwhile" or "At the Hall of Justice," and it has these little fun text transitions in the background. I really enjoyed it, and it helps set the tone for what you're going to expect next or don't expect.
Right, exactly, and obviously, and now the mission turns towards they got the Thinker, right? So now they're
Right? They
gonna
get Thinker,
go.
they got Harley, and then they're going to go to Yoderheim.
Exactly, and then the mission there is to blow it up. Right, they got the C4. They're gonna blow the whole building up,
Well,
and
there's a
this.
really cool scene where they're coming in with the bus into Jotunheim, and it starts raining because
Oh,
if
with
you
the
live in
rain,
South
right, right.
America or Florida, it rains hard like for like 20 minutes and just stops. And it was great because the beginning of the movie you have the reject Suicide Squad doing their slow motion walk towards the camera,
Mhm.
and you always you just accept those for what it is. They've always done this in action movies, but in this scene they're slow motion walking using the rain as cover, and so it actually gave a reason to slow motion walk as a team on a lineup, and it just played super well. I was like, there's a great reason for a slow motion walk where you don't have to say, oh, it's just a trick of the camera. It's like you have to walk slow because you're using the rain to cover your ass as you're getting closer. I thought all that was fantastic.
Yeah, the kind of the usual trope. With yeah, again, it's a trope they use in a lot of films, not
Right.
comic book action, whatever. We've seen it 1,000 times. But that was a good way of kind of presenting it. So that was kind
And
of
King
cool.
Shark had a great kill moment in that rain sequence that looked like something right out of a comic book.
Oh
Like,
man, yeah, and they kind of gave us a sneak peek in one of the trailers to show it, but not. But here we had to
oh,
see
I
the
never
full
saw that
version.
trailer.
Oh yeah,
Right.
in the first trailer I saw, they kind of
Okay.
what they're about to show him rip the guy in part, and then it cut away. But yeah,
Ah,
when he
okay.
rips the guy in half or whatever in pieces, and the
There's
lightning's
a
in the
lightning
background, it
bolt.
slows down. It's just a great looking
It
shot.
looked like it was
Yeah.
drawn and it was
Right,
fantastic.
yeah,
So good.
that was like a straight out of a comic book, that
Yeah.
exact scene, and that was super cool. And King Shark also has a great comedic line where a moment when they're doing the plastic explosives, the C4, and he creates one in the shape of Peacemaker. Look, this is you, and he's looking at it. I mean, that was so ridiculous. It was amazing though. He's like, dude, just put it in there, whatever, and actually use it to explode. That's one of the ones that
Yeah,
explodes later.
that's that
Yeah,
that bomb was actually right where they were trying to get into it. So
right.
when it blew up, it killed everybody.
Go figure. But a lot of stuff happens in here. We get, and we'll
Yeah.
separate. Let's start first with the Peacemaker versus Rick
Rick
Flag
Flag.
situation, right? 'Cause,
So
yeah,
they revealed that the Project Jotunheim is actually because they've captured Starro the Conqueror, which is a giant starfish with a giant eye who has telepathic powers and can create mini versions of itself. Basically, it's like a hive mind. It
yeah.
creates a hive
It's the
army.
it's the Borg. Getting Saturn is what
It's
we're
the
looking at.
Borg, very much so. In this movie, it looks like once the Starro gets in you, you're dead. In the comic books, if you stop Starro, the starfish falls off your face and you can survive. So
Oh,
they
okay. They
made it
changed that.
a
Okay.
little bit more extreme
Okay.
to make it work. But yeah, and so so the Thinker's been experimenting on Starro for 30 years, trying to figure out it's how it controls people and what it can use to maybe benefit it or weaponize it. And there's this really gross moment where uh, a Thinker to go see Project Yoda, a starfish, which reveals to be a Starro. And first of all, the Thinker says, "This is Starro the Conqueror." He goes, it's a divisive title, I know, and I thought that was kind of fun. Like he took it upon himself to name that, and he thought I was fine with it. But all the people that Starro's infected so far are like, "Save me." He's been torturing me. He's had his way with me. And when you hear that, everyone looks at the Thinker. The Thinker's like, "That's what I do." Sometimes you gotta put your penis in it. What are we gonna do?
A man's got to eat,
Just
right? He's got to
like
earn a living. So
if you thought that the Thinker was stupid in the beginning, visually it totally makes sense because he looks like a classic mad
yeah,
scientist. But as the movie goes on, you really start to understand what a piece of shit this guy is, in like in every version of it. to the point that even when things go sideways and Starro escapes, the first thing Starro does is he grabs the Thinker, and the Thinker starts apologizing like an abusive boyfriend. He's like, "Baby, I'm sorry, I'll change." And he just rips him in half and throws him against the wall, and he pops like a water balloon. Fucking dope. Just that whole sequence is great. Um, but in the midst of discovering that the U.S. government's been secretly funding the Starro program, Rick Flag gets super pissed and he takes a data drive and he's like, "I'm going to show this to the press. The people need to know." And that's the big turn when you find out that Peacemaker was sent on this mission to specifically make sure that data drive never gets out.
Right. And so they go at it in a brutal, very cool fight. And it
Such a
sounds
good
great
fight.
because it has a shot where they're showing him fighting with on the reflection of Peacemaker's helmet, which is really cool.
Dude,
Yeah.
such a clever idea of just following that fight from like the as you pan around the helmet, like them fight. I as great as that fight scene was, there's a little part of me that wish they would have stuck to
Mhm.
that fight rotating around the helmet, so they get to be like really gross, but you never got to see it because only kind of curved reflection. But the whole fight scene itself is fantastic. I just a little once again a little nitpick, a little
Yeah,
preference
it's
for
fine. Yeah,
me.
the movies suck, bro. And what's
The whole
surprising
fight
is
scene.
that it's great and ended it with surprising death to Rick Flag. I didn't see that
Yeah,
coming.
I
Yeah.
totally thought they were going to kill Peacemaker right then and
Yeah.
there. And when I was watching that scene, I was like, "Oh, okay. So I guess the Peacemaker TV show on HBO Max is going to be a prequel." That's what I thought.
Mhm. Yeah, and it happens a couple of
And
times in this.
yeah,
But yeah, but he survived. He kills Rick Flag, which is obviously super surprising.
yeah.
And then eventually leads to the next confrontation. But there is a scene where because they go back when the building explodes, right?
Well, what happens is Ratcatcher gets the drive,
Mhm.
and she starts to escape, and Peacemaker hunts her down, and he's about to kill her, and the movie just stops and cuts to 8 minutes earlier, and it's the other team putting bombs everywhere, and then that's when yes, sorry,
Right, because I have that scene where they're trying to escape, and the building's is falling over, much like we
right,
mentioned the Transformers. I think it's part three,
yes.
whatever. But when someone out named Michael Bay's directing it, that scene actually looks cool and it makes sense. But
Well,
that
no. Yeah, because Michael Bay just it feels like you're this close to a blender and everything's just spinning. You have
right, just
no
spinning
idea what the fuck's
around
really
and
happening. And
yeah,
this you get the scope and the effect of what's going on and how like dangerous and cool that
mhm.
could look like, and it's placed so much better
No, of course it does. And then that leads to Polka Dot Man, using his throwing polka dots and accidentally hits one of the C4
and
explosives.
causing the chain reaction. Yeah,
And there that explains that, and all the whole building starts falling over. I mean, this is a scene where this is the Wile E. Coyote scene where I just Elbert tries to go to the other side, he misses, falls down into the part of the
onto a
floor,
floor
which falls
with
down to the floor, which falls down
which
to the
falls.
floor. I mean, it's so. I mean, it's just saying it sounds stupid as hell without context. This is ridiculous, but
But it looks
again,
so
it's
cool
cool
when
and it
in the
works.
moment.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
worked. I thought he was gonna little umbrella like the Wile E. Coyote. I was waiting for. I was like, "Where is?" Which would have been awesome, by the way. But he lands, of course, right where Peacemaker is about
Right.
to kill Ratcatcher.
And there's a moment in this scene I think plays for double. It's also a great example of this whole movie. I felt is James Gunn's exercise on the theory of the Chekhov's gun principle, which is
Mhm.
if you see something in the first scene or the first act in a movie, it's going to pay off in the third act. James Gunn does this with everything. This entire movie, everything you see pays off directly, either like the next scene or the final scene. It's I, I, I think we just talked about this. Bill Burr's got a great joke that he says one of the funniest jokes he ever saw from like a regular person was there was a bar that had one of those like chalkboard sandwich displays for advertisements, and they wrote, "We like our beer like we like our violence, domestic." And he said it's a great joke, and he says it's a great joke because you need every word in that joke to make the joke work. And this movie, every scene pays off in the end. So you can't take one scene out and go, "Nah, the movie could work better with this scene." Like everything there pays off for the tone or for a revelation. And one of the revelations, and one of the things they set up in the very beginning of the movie is Peacemaker and Bloodsport talking about who's a better shot. And Bloodsport says, "I shoot dead center." And Peacemaker says, "I shoot more dead center." He's like, "How do you shoot more dead center?" He's like, "I use a smaller bullet that goes into your bullet, and it's a better shot." So when Bloodsport lands and Peacemaker sees him, they both take out their guns and they shoot each other, and they have that whole like bullet coming at each other. And I thought it was gonna be that thing you've seen in movies where the bullets hit each other and
Right,
then
they
they
fall
topple
down.
over.
Yeah, yeah, we've seen that a lot of
But
times. Yeah, yeah.
but this one, you see clearly that John Cena's got this big fucking bullet coming at you, and Bloodsport's got a little skinnier bullet that goes through John Cena's bullet explodes it and goes into John Cena's neck. I was like, oh, fucking great.
And I thought that was the end of Peace, and that's the point where I said, okay, so he's dead,
It's
fine.
got to be a prequel,
It's a
right?
prequel, which whatever, right? That's good or bad depends on what they do
Sure,
with this. I'm like, it's fine, right? But again, that didn't surprise me because everybody else is dying. Why not kill off Peacemaker or whatever?
sure.
So we think he's dead, and obviously we'll talk about this following scene later. But from there, obviously now it's the encounter, right? And another great transition, which shows the Starro versus
Oh,
the
when Starro
Suicide
escapes
Squad.
and it
Yeah,
says Suicide Squad
yeah,
versus Starro the Conqueror, like
yeah,
it was like I literally laughed out loud every time because it just looks
yeah.
so perfect and it's like right out of a comic book. I'm like, yes, give me more of this. Let's go. Yeah,
Exactly. Starro, he's the size of a kaiju. He's
yeah,
decimating the city. Everyone's being taken over, with the kind of alien-like things in their
right.
faces and whatever. So, and yeah, you're thinking, okay, we got Ratcatcher, Polka Dot
Ratcatcher,
Man,
yeah, it's
King
pretty
Shark,
much the
and Harley Quinn. Yeah,
original team from the that was the non distraction Harley Quinn. So because Peacemaker is dead, it's Harley Quinn and then the other four. So
right.
that's the team going
And
forward.
you're like, okay, those four against that.
Right,
I don't know how that's gonna work. It just these things like that's almost impossible. And Bloodshot's like, well, I'm out of here.
right,
Right? He's like, I'm dealing with this. And fuck this, because he thinks he has no chance. So they're
right.
trying to leave, and then that's when they show Amanda Waller. She's like furious and tell him, hey,
You got to go. No,
no, no,
because
no, 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 no. He. I'm
right,
sorry, no. Before that, no. He wants to leave, but then he's convinced to
right.
come back. He sees the people, everybody
He
getting
hears a
hurt.
screaming and he just can't walk away from it.
Right, and he realizes, okay, no, we got to stay and fight this,
Right.
right? And he becomes that leader, that kind of a Captain America esque leader. Hey,
Yes.
you do this, you do that, num nums, and go King Shark. But that's when Amanda Waller's telling him, hey, get out, because she wants him to leave.
Right.
The mission's accomplished. They
Right.
got the data
The
thing
drive.
and all that,
Right.
the drive. And yeah, so she's like, leave, and she got the finger on the button where they can blow their heads off.
Right.
And she's yelling at him. Really cool scene, very tense scene. They
Very
just keep
tense.
walking. They don't care. And all of a sudden, one of her Amanda Waller's team,
Staff.
whatever, yeah, they knock over the head with some golf club pipe out, whatever. I think it was a golf club, irrelevant, but knocks her ass out. And they're like, okay, guys, you're free to do what you gotta do. Which is very cool
Dude,
because
when
how they
when she
defeat
knocked
Star
out,
Wars.
when she got knocked out, I was expecting Chris Tucker to come out and goes, "You got knocked the fuck out!" It was like a pang. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Devo. Be cool. That was Devo back then.
Oh man, that'd be
The late
great.
great Devo anyway.
Like great.
So that was cool. But now it's them, versus Starro, and I like the resolution of it because now we have everybody got the moment to shine, right?
Yeah,
King Shark's doing his thing. You got Polka Dot Man who, we
came
mentioned
up
before,
big.
he envisions the huge mom, whatever, and he gets messing up the leg with his polka dots, whatever, and he's all excited, right? He's just saying,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm a hero," and then of course, right on cue, which we kind of saw coming. Boom, he
The
gets
minute he
whacked.
took his eyes off Starro to look at Bloodsport to go, "I'm a superhero,"
Yeah,
blam,
you knew.
and
I mean, I was like, okay, he's gonna go
"Oh,
down, which is it's kind of cool, but kind of sucks because he's one of the characters I like to maybe see more
yeah,
down the
yeah,
road.
yeah,
So that's kind of
exactly, yeah,
surprising, but whatever. It is what it is. And Harley Quinn gets involved. She finally figures out because she took the staff, the javelin,
the javelin."
whatever, early on, and she kept thinking, why, what's this for? And I guess
She
she
needs a
finally,
purpose, and her
yeah,
purpose is she just jams into Starro's eye and floats in his eyeball liquid for like a hot minute, and it's
kind of
super
gross.
gross
Yeah,
and funny at the same time, but really gross.
yeah. And the rats get in there. That doesn't help things.
Well, yeah, because
Um,
Ratcatcher ends up being the savior of the day. She summons all the rats in the island to eat Starro from like the open wounds that it has and just the flesh of itself.
mhm.
And I mean, if you've ever lived in South America or New York, you understand that there are rats fucking everywhere. They're just underneath the surface, but they are there and they are aplenty. And so she uses that as like the feeding frenzy off of it to Starro, and it is perfect and gross all at the same time. And when they defeat Starro by eating him, in my head I was like, oh cool, they beat Starro. Also, all these rats have space hepatitis. That's the only because and that island is now it's going to infect people. It's going to be worse. It's going to be a horror show,
It's gonna be
and I'm there for it.
the new coming of the Black Plague, I
Yeah,
guess. It's gonna be
it
all
is
over again.
space black plague, and
Yeah,
it's going to be bad. It's going to be like purple plague. It's purple plague. It's not even black. It's purple. It's going to be bad for everybody.
open one door, close one door, open another. I guess. What are you gonna do? But so obviously everybody's saved, and that's a cool moment with Ratcatcher because she gets her moment, and it's actually a cool moment with Bloodsport's daughter.
Yeah,
who they
was she
introduced her early, Ryan. She
right?
realizes there are odds. Obviously, he's not the world's
Oh,
greatest
super
father
odds.
by his own admission, and
Super odds.
she gets to like, oh, that's my dad. He's a hero now. Which is kind of again bringing that weight and that kind of humanity to the film, which
Listen,
is
as
nice.
a dad, I look forward to one day my daughter being proud of me. It hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna. And when it does, I hope
That's
it's the same
that
circumstance.
only in the movies, dude. Let's
Oh man, damn it!
if you're in Suicide Squad 3, then I'm with you. Then maybe you get your moment to shine. And then so that kind of but it pretty much ends there. Well, not one kind of because now
There's two post credit scenes.
right we got the hard drive where the disk drive which now
Right,
Bloodsport
Bloodsport
has
uses
right.
as leverage to get to
Yeah,
have Amanda Waller let everybody go, which is like if you kill
exactly.
me or my daughter or anyone on my team, it's a wrap. The
Right.
video footage comes out and America's fucked. So fuck you.
Exactly. So it found a good way to kind of get to be out of the team, get released, and
Yes.
everyone went happily after. But yeah, we got a couple post credit scenes. One with Weasel, which we
Yeah.
thought was dead the first 5 minutes of the movie, and
What-
he's on the beach and he gets up and has a little waddle, weird little noise. Yeah, you
Once
poodle
again,
esque
my giant poodle was like,
right.
"You guys want to play a game?" He just runs into the jungle. Which to me, a little nepotism. Just because your brother's playing the role doesn't mean he has to survive. So a little bit,
Yeah, you kill
okay.
Polka Dot Man, you live. Come on, bro.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Stop it, James Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this movie sucks, bro. David Lee Roth, Weasel lives. So it's good to whatever. I forgive it, but it'd be cool to see Weasel again.
Sure.
Maybe Peacemaker. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
because the second credit scene, you reveal that they found Peacemaker and he's still alive, just barely, all
Sure.
banged up, all banged the fuck up,
I'll allow
but
it.
he's still alive. And they say, "Why do you have to save him?" And the two of the staff members says, "This guy's gonna save the fucking world." And so, what a way to like really bone up your HBO Max series, because
Yeah.
you went from like, oh, this is going to be a prequel, which will probably lay like 2 or 3 Easter eggs will pay off later. Now they're saying
Right.
this is all relevant. It's a sequel, and it's a personal like, and it becomes bigger. It starts off with like, you have to save the fucking world. Go. So it makes me
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's
excited.
so good to see that scene because now, yeah, I think now it's not a prequel, and I don't know, maybe they give us more characters. I mean, I know they're gonna keep this a Peacemaker
I'm sure they
solo
will. I'm sure
project,
they will.
but they can introduce. I mean, they're not bringing back Harley Quinn or even
No,
Bloodsport.
no, no.
I doubt
Give
that
us
that happens, but yeah.
give us more sea-level characters that he can
Right,
murk
exactly.
with no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can kill, nobody care, great, have fun with it. So I'm really looking forward to that show. I know James Gunn's not directing or whatever, right? I know he's one of the showrunners or
he's writing it. He's writing
Is he
it.
writing it? Okay, he's writing.
Yeah,
So
he's writing,
yeah.
he's writing
Yeah.
it, and I believe he's a producer. He might direct like 1 or 2 episodes, but he's definitely writing all the episodes,
Right.
and he's
Yeah.
produced. So his fingerprint's going to be on it a lot.
Exactly. So which is obviously great, right? And which on a side note, speaking of James Gunn, where obviously he's going to film Guardians of the Galaxy upcoming next, finally. But Walter Hamada, who runs DC, as far as on the WB films, he did an interview recently, and he talked about how him and James Gunn have talked about future projects, and he does expect them to come back for DC sometime in the future. Great news. That's awesome. Nothing. They didn't specify what capacity. Suicide 3, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. Listen, I think he's proved himself for them. Give him whatever he wants, right?
The
What do you
weirder
want to
the
do?
character,
Yeah,
give
and
him
yeah,
weird fucking characters that shouldn't work. Just let him have
let him have
carte
it.
blanche to all that, even if he doesn't
Whatever he
like
wants.
direct and write everything. But if you could be almost be like a mini producer where he would pick writer directors to kind of
Sure.
like he'll create the concept and go. I'd be cool with all that because he's going to pick people with very much his sensibility. Like when I was watching the movie the third time, you know what the tone of this movie made it feel like to me? Doom Patrol on HBO Max.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
It
Yeah.
had, it had
That's a
a
good point.
very Doom
Yeah.
Patrol like with Patrol, but like it almost made me think like if they're ever going to do a live like a real movie for Doom Patrol. I would love James Gunn to be involved in this because I feel that the sensibility of the two are right there for each other. So it'd be
No, you're
something really
right.
fun
Yeah,
to do.
the very yeah that's something up his alley, right? I
Yeah,
mean, listen, if they want to do Patrol movie, by all means, give it to him, right? And
yeah,
he's gonna get whatever he wants. And even he said that he really loved working for DC. He had a good experience with them.
sure.
I mean, maybe he's
Because they never fired him. That's why.
well, that's a great start. I love working. They never get rid of me. I can say what I want, and it's funny because now he's working for both. I mean, who would have thought? you have a director doing movies for both
So
Marvel
does,
and
so does
DC,
Idris
right?
Elba. He's also did both. He did Marvel
Well,
and
in
DC
terms of
too.
acting, but directing. But as far as
Oh
directing,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's a
Right,
big thing. To you think you're under the fold of Marvel, and that's where you're gonna stay. But now he's like,
right.
well, thanks to the idiocy Disney, for that didn't go the first time. WB picks him up, and now he's a double agent, right? That's awesome.
And
Like
shout outs also to
everybody
Taika
wins.
Waititi, who's in there too.
Oh,
And he also does a Marvel DC as well.
yeah,
He's in
he's
there
a
as well. Yeah,
rat catcher, the father. Rat
yeah.
catcher one, I guess. Which is actually kind of cool because again, it's another kind of wink, like, hey, yeah, exactly. So, which and going back to Thor,
And I
which
think we talked about this, and I forgot to say it when Idris Elba kills John Cena. I feel like that was, speaking of meta
oh,
references, I feel like there's a reference of saying Hobbs and Shaw was better than F9, and I think we all can agree with that. Like when we saw that, no part of us thought that's not right. We're like, no, this makes perfect sense. I'm all aboard. Yeah, good for you.
any movie's better than Fast Nine. Let me not say that.
Space race.
Yeah, I'm thinking, is the first Suicide Squad better? It's close between the original Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, oxymoron, and
Weirdly,
Fast Nine.
yes.
But yeah, neither here nor there.
You
But
decide, people. You tell us what you think.
maybe it is. I don't know.
Fast Nine or the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
Which one do you think works best? Let us know.
I'm not arguing either side. I'm like, you know what? I get it. On which way you come at it, okay.
Fine.
I see it.
Fine.
I can't argue. I can't dispute whatever the answer you decide. But that means that overall, listen, I think you gave it a what, 9 or 8.5 and 9?
I give it a 9. I give it a 9.
Okay.
You think you give it an 8.5? I give it a 9.
I think I might change. I mean,
I've
I'm
seen it.
gonna see it
I'm
again.
not gonna watch it anymore.
Yeah, I might amplify
Sure.
that. I don't think it's gonna go down. If anything, it's gonna go up upon a second viewing, third viewing.
Let us know
whatever.
when we do
Yeah.
our next episode. You can let us know what your new review is in terms of opinion wise. What you
Yeah,
thought about it.
I may
I'm
actually
giving it a
watch it
solid
tonight.
9.
Yeah, I might watch it tonight. So again,
Yeah.
I may go up, but nonetheless, with an 8.5, 9, whatever. It's right there. It's great.
Yeah.
This
It's
way, the
super fun.
If you can't get to the theaters, really go watch it because
Absolutely.
I want this movie to
If you
make
can watch
money.
it on IMAX, even better. Do it. Like the
Even
bigger
better, right.
the screen you can get because of how cool Starro looks, the better for everybody.
Of course.
But
And
definitely
the more-
watch it in a theater
And the
if you can.
more money this makes, the higher the chance they'll greenlit another one, right? Particularly
Yes.
if James Gunn is going to be involved. Why not? I want to succeed. Listen, if you can, I get it. HBO Max, you pay $15 a month or whatever, and you watch it. And again, I mentioned before, it's a kind of best of both worlds. Go support the film in the theater, and then when you watch it again, you can watch it for free.
Yeah. If you
so
like it, he goes, "Oh man, I can't wait to see it again." You
Right.
literally can.
Yeah, see
Watch
it
it
again.
again.
It's free at home, and again, everybody wins. So
Everybody wins.
let's see. Hopefully, it does well. I think it's gonna be successful. What amount? I don't know, with COVID and all that. Whatever.
Who knows?
It is what it is. But who knows? But yeah, man, I must watch. This is a must watch as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. It's so much fun. It's
And-
definitely one of the better DC films, maybe the best.
And guys, if you enjoyed this, let us, hopefully you go see it too, and let us know what you thought. Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our opinions and our takes on this. Let us know what movie you think is better than F9 or Suicide Squad. Well, all this is on the table. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to check us out on Nerdsplaining Pod on Instagram, Nerdsplaining_ on Twitter, and also you can check out ericdesilva.com to listen to all the Nerdsplaining podcast episodes, or you can go to the Latin Nerd Network on YouTube to see all these episodes that we have for Nerdsplaining on YouTube as well. And guys, that has been the show. Jose, thank you so much for waking up super early and talking about this. It's been so much fun. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow about all the other nerd news that we're going to cover for the week that we just went through. And as always, guys, thank you for listening to Nerdsplaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Peace.
Peace.